In Hollywood, the greatest tales are those with shocking twists and turns. But not even the best scriptwriters could conjure up a drama as compelling as this love story turned train crash.
What happened?
Oh, really?
Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, the co-stars who fell in love on a movie set only to then fall out of love even more publicly.
Bombshell tapes reveal Heard admitting to hitting Depp while under the influence.
Physical fights?
A baby!
Because you start physical fights?
Very serious domestic abuse claim.
And very emotional testimony for Amber Heard.
But rather than simply go their separate ways, these two people, privileged beyond belief, were prepared to destroy one another by airing their dirty laundry in one of the most bizarre breakups the world has ever seen.
Drunken tirades, drug taking, defecating on a bed, fingers cut off. It's bonkers, really. It's crazy stuff.
It's a rare glimpse into the private lives of an A-list couple, lurching from the farcical
When you issue a restraining order
to the genuinely frightening.
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get through to him. I couldn't get up.
The toxic relationship has now become the focus of multiple court cases, with one question at the centre of it all. Is Johnny Depp a monster, or is Amber Heard a liar?
Common sense and the evidence will tell you that it is all a lie.
Tonight, the good, the bad, and the very, very ugly of this real-life soap opera. Trial of the century, or a travesty of justice. And what now for the careers of these two damaged souls?
One person has a hill to climb and another person has a mountain to climb.
As far as love stories go, the romance between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard was about as Hollywood as you can get. He was one of the biggest actors in the world, twice crowned sexiest man alive, and the star of one of the most successful film franchises to ever hit the big screen.
Well, go on, go get them!
She was a blonde bombshell, literally half his age, whose star was on the rise. And in 2009, their worlds collided on the set of the comedy drama The Rum Diary.
Thank you for my roses.
I didn't think you noticed.
Of course I noticed.
The beginning of their relationship was something magical. They did have this huge spark between them. They had a huge amount in common. And then there was a shower scene where she walked into him having a shower and they kissed. And he said in that moment, in that kiss, he said there was something very real.
The beginning of their relationship played out before our very eyes, and their chemistry was palpable.
I mean, they were both in relationships at the time, and he said, I felt something that I shouldn't have felt. The way he tells it, there was this electricity between them. This spark that he said he felt was literally pure Hollywood.
It's hard to believe now, but at one point, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were madly in love.
What is it about Amber? What do you love so much?
She's very, very literate. She's a voracious reader, as I've always been.
She's gorgeous. Stunning.
Yeah, I'm a lucky man.
In 2015, the lovers made it official, showing off their star power by marrying in a sunset ceremony on Depp's private island in the Bahamas. A couple of months later, with Depp filming the 5th installment of Pirates of the Caribbean, the couple shacked up in a mansion on the Gold Coast with their teacup Yorkies, Pistol and Boo. But instead of wedded bliss, they got Barnaby Joyce.
A gentleman by the name of John Christopher Depp, aka Jack Sparrow, and he's decided to bring into our nation 2 dogs without actually getting the proper certification and the proper permits required. Basically looks like he snuck them in. Mr. Depp has to either take his dogs back to California or we're going to have to euthanize them.
And it seemed a typical Hollywood operatic farce, flying around on private jets to land on the Gold Coast to film Pirates of the Caribbean and smuggling their dogs in. I guess it's the sense of entitlement that annoyed people, but also didn't surprise them that these multi-millionaire Hollywood couple would swan in and try and get their handbag dogs in with them.
It's time that Pistol and Boo buggered off back to the United States.
Amidst the ensuing public relations war with the Australian government, Johnny deployed his signature cheekiness and charm to try to plead his case.
Did you smuggle the dogs into the country?
There might have been other things smuggled.
But not dogs.
Well, they seem to miss that bit.
Your wife actually, they threatened to put her in jail. Isn't that true?
If they did that, I'd just fly to Australia and assault that man.
Yeah, right.
So that I could go.
Jack Sparrow's not going to stand by and let this happen.
But while Johnny was defending his new wife in public, behind the scenes, their relationship was imploding.
Our mindset at that time, we all saw that saga unfolding and thought,
yes,
how ridiculous. But no one knew the actual horror of what was going on behind the scenes there at the time in that relationship.
This incredible drama and violence that played out in this rented house in Queensland, and the pain and the agony that was in that relationship behind the scenes, which no one knew about when they were out there.
Can you just give us an insight into how out of control their lifestyle was when they were here in Australia?
The Australia incident is perhaps the craziest part of this case, because no matter who we believe in this story, something rather mad happened. Amber Heard said that over the course of 3 days, she was basically held hostage as he went mad on drink, drugs, and smashed up this house. At one point, she says he sliced off his own fingertip and then started painting the walls, first with his blood, then dipped it in paint, started daubing messages around, smashing windows, breaking mirrors, painting on the sofas. It's all mad.
I mean, do you find yourself scratching your head and thinking, how does this happen?
Oh, it's hard to fathom. This was not Johnny Depp's own house. It was a rented property where they I think it took them something like 13 hours just to do the initial cleanup because of the damage that had been done. Burnt cushions, paint everywhere, glass bottles tossed around the room, broken glass everywhere, alcohol spilled. And in the midst of that was Johnny Depp's fingertip lying somewhere.
At that point, very few people knew how desperately dysfunctional the marriage was. To most Australians, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were just spoiled superstars with no regard for the rules. But even then, we still couldn't get enough of the drama that followed them.
Are you feeling confident of beating these charges?
That unseemly saga culminated in April 2016 with this embarrassingly insincere video.
Australia is a wonderful island with a treasure trove of unique plants, animals, and people.
It has to be protected.
Looking more like hostages than Hollywood royalty, the couple was forced to eat humble pie to atone for their apparent sins.
I am truly sorry that Pistol and Boo were not declared.
What makes it even more noteworthy is that this would be the last time Johnny Depp and Amber Heard ever willingly appeared on camera together. Just a month later, their marriage was over. Short and anything but sweet. But no one could have anticipated just how much uglier their relationship was about to get.
Amber, did Johnny give you that bruise on your face? Did Johnny beat you up?
May 27, 2016. This is the day that changes everything for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Are you okay, Amber? You look upset.
Amber walked out of a county court in Los Angeles, and the world unexpectedly learned 3 things. 1, she had filed for divorce from Johnny. 2, she was accusing him of domestic violence. And 3, she was scared enough to take out a restraining order. Like so much of this saga, the cameras were rolling.
Amber, what do you have to say to Johnny?
According to Amber, the dark bruise on her face was caused by Johnny throwing a phone at her just days earlier.
And I said to him, honey, you hit me in the eye, my eye. And I start crying, and he approaches me and grabs my head, takes a fistful of my hair and says, I hit your eye, hon, let me see your eye. Let me see your eye, what if I pull your hair back? And he yanks my head back, and he's, I don't know, smacking my face or moving my face or...
She said it was far from the first time her husband had been violent towards her.
What happened? Nothing happened this morning, you know that?
Were you in here?
No.
So then nothing happened to you this morning?
But to Johnny Depp that the public had never seen.
Get in.
On screen, he had played characters that were mischievous, menacing even. But the idea that he was capable of real violence was damaging, to say the least.
If you're a male actor and you have allegations made against you that you've carried out domestic violence, well, what does that do to your reputation?
It takes a hit. I definitely think that when it comes to domestic violence or violence of any sort, I think your reputation is going to take a hit. Any kind of accusations, whether or not it's true or not, the court of public opinion is going to immediately make their decision of how they want to feel.
In public, Johnny strenuously denied the allegations. Privately, he had his lawyers flip the script on Amber in divorce court depositions.
Ms. Hart, have you ever hit Johnny Depp prior to today?
He was about to push my sister down the stairs. She was attempting to break us up. I am protective over my baby sister. When he laid hands on her, I don't know what I did. I don't know what part of my body I put in between me and him and her. But I would have done anything. I would have done anything to prevent her from being pushed down a flight of stairs.
Despite the clear animosity between the pair, in the end they managed to negotiate a private divorce settlement and released a statement saying they'd had a passionate relationship, but neither had intentionally, physically or emotionally harmed the other. That was supposed to be the end of the matter, but this bitter breakup was about to get so much nastier.
So the couple had settled their divorce. They'd gone their separate ways. Amber Heard had received her settlement in February 2017. And their respective careers were going in the way you might expect them to. She'd got Aquaman in the can, and that was due out in December 2018. And Johnny Depp was nodding along, talking to Disney about doing another Pirates movie, and obviously getting work from the J.K. Rowling film franchise. And then the article in the UK came out in early 2018. It was an opinion piece by the executive editor of the Sun newspaper, Dan Wootton. And he asked how J.K. Rowling, who had famously spoken out against domestic violence, could continue to cast Johnny Depp as the baddie in her Fantastic Beasts franchise, given the allegations that were made against him in 2016. Johnny Depp says his life changed immeasurably as a result. Everything went sour.
Johnny was so outraged, he decided to sue the Sun newspaper for defaming him. Arriving at the Old Bailey in London, Johnny Depp approached the court the way he would a red carpet. And even accused of domestic violence, he was still able to command an adoring crowd. The reception for his ex-wife and star witness for the newspaper was nowhere near as warm. The challenge for someone like Johnny Depp when they want to sue for defamation is that, is it worth it? They do have to have so much of their dirty laundry aired in the process of trying to get the verdict they want.
The advice that you always hear, even from lawyers, to ordinary people like us, is never go to court if you can avoid it. Never sue, avoid being sued, but certainly don't do anything that leads towards a trial. Settle if it's at all possible. Because what happens when you go to court is that you have to hand over your mobile phone, You have to hand over all your emails, and they will be pored over by highly paid lawyers and then made public in a trial. And the advice for stars like Johnny Depp is run a mile before you ever get to court, because that is exactly what will happen, and the world will take note. And your reputation can be damaged irrespective of what the result of the trial is. So it's a very, very dangerous game to play if you are determined to take someone to court and have an open trial.
Johnny wanted to play that game, though.
He wanted to play that game.
For those covering the story at the time, it was a truly bizarre set of circumstances.
This is a case like no other that I've covered, but I've never before seen two Hollywood stars fighting each other over the high courtroom and bringing basically all of their dirty laundry from their marriage out into the open.
Actual dirty laundry was just one of the many, many shocking things the court was presented with.
One of the oddest things from this case is that both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have been discussing who defecated on a bed. I mean, it's not the kind of thing that comes up normally in court anyway, let alone to have these household names, these megastars, fighting, essentially, over who might have done it.
Over 3 weeks, the couple's toxic lifestyle was laid bare. In addition to the domestic violence allegations, Amber detailed Johnny's drink and drug addictions, providing photos of him passed out after binges. He told the court Amber had cheated on him with at least 8 other men, including Leonardo DiCaprio and Elon Musk, and presented evidence of Amber assaulting him.
I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not deck you. I was hitting you. I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine.
Oh,
that's the difference between me and you. You're baby.
Because you start physical fights?
Such a baby!
Because you start physical fights?
Defamation lawyers watching the case couldn't believe Johnny was willing to be exposed to this level of scrutiny.
You can pay good money to attend this kind of thing. It's got all the hallmarks of the Roman arena. I mean, the problem, of course, is that both parties are very ill-advised to be bringing this case. Nobody behaves at their very best when they're in a breakup of a relationship. And then to have that forensically picked over by highly paid lawyers in front of a judge in public is probably best described as suboptimal.
If you were representing Johnny Depp, someone with such a colourful past, and he came to you and said, I want to sue for defamation because they called me a wife beater, even if he was 100% innocent, would you say, it might not be worth it?
Yes, I would. And I have to give that message to many celebrity clients over the years. You have to weigh up the potential reputational harm as against to the benefit.
In the end, the result in London was disastrous for Johnny Depp.
The judge believed Amber Heard's credibility. He listened to all the witnesses. He looked at the volumes of evidence that were produced in that case, and then sat in open court for 15 days listening to the live witnesses being cross-examined by 2 highly skilled barristers, and decided that at the end of it, Amber Heard's evidence, her personal evidence as to what happened behind closed doors in various parts of the world, including that awful time in Australia, was substantially true.
How resounding was the verdict that the court came to in the United Kingdom?
It was utterly damning. Johnny Depp went into that courtroom to try and clear his reputation, and he came out with it traduced. A judge found on 12 out of 14 occasions that he had committed physical violence against Amber Heard, and detailed how and why he came to those conclusions. And the upshot of it was that the Sun's article calling Johnny Depp a wife-beater was substantially true. It meant that anyone in the United Kingdom could now call Johnny Depp a wife-beater. He couldn't have failed more abysmally.
For most people, the UK decision would have been enough to wave the white flag, but there was no backing down for Johnny Depp. In fact, he was busily gearing up for round 3. He decided to sue his ex-wife personally over an article she wrote for The Washington Post. And this time, he was taking the fight back home. Given Johnny Depp lost so resoundingly in the United Kingdom, was it a surprise that he would
roll up his sleeves and go again in the US?
Johnny Depp was absolutely determined for this trial to take place. Now, Amber Heard's lawyers had done everything they could to throw this out, but the judge in the case said Johnny Depp has a right to see her in the United States over that article. So the stage was set, and Johnny Depp was absolutely determined to star on that stage.
And star they both did, in a horror story the world couldn't get enough of. By the time Johnny Depp and Amber Heard fronted up to court in the US in April this year, they'd been at war far longer than they'd been in love. The main stage was this Fairfax County courtroom, and the stakes were extraordinarily high. A televised $50 million defamation suit Johnny had filed against Amber over an article she wrote for the Washington Post about domestic violence that didn't even name him. From the outset, these acclaimed actors played their roles to perfection. Amber detailed the abuse she suffered at the hands of her husband.
And why did you file for divorce?
Because I knew if I didn't, I'd likely not literally survive.
And Johnny said it was all a hoax.
No human being is perfect, certainly not. None of us. But I have never in my life committed sexual battery, physical abuse, all these outlandish, outrageous stories of me committing these things.
Either you believed Amber Heard was a victim of domestic violence, or you didn't. And so much of the case was put to the jury as being whether or not Johnny Depp would be the sort of person, or is the sort of person, that would ever lay a finger against another woman.
Do you remember the first time that he physically hit you?
Yes. I will never forget it. It changed my life. I asked him about the tattoo he has on his arm, and I said, "What does it say?" And he said it says "Wino." I just laughed because I thought he was joking, and slapped me across the face. At first, it was just to throw something, smash some things. He loves to smash up a place, an apartment, furniture. That's what it started with. Glass. Threw a glass at me, and I remember it was summer. And he just threw this glass across the kitchen, and it didn't hit me, but it shattered behind me, and I remember thinking that it very easily could have hit me. And then I started to notice the pattern of escalation where he'd throw glass or turn over a table. Then he would hit the wall, and then he'd hit the wall really close to my head. You know, like when I'm standing there, just hit the wall, screaming at me. Then he would disappear and get clean and sober, and he'd come back and tell me that he was done drinking. And then he would go back to this wonderful, almost just unreal, but real, but unbelievably nice, sensitive, kind, warm, generous, interesting, funny man that I loved.
But it was Amber Heard's retelling of a night on the Gold Coast where she says Johnny Depp sexually assaulted her that was the most harrowing of all her testimony.
I couldn't breathe. Please. I don't know. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get through to him. I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up. The next thing I remember, I was bent over backwards on the bar, meaning my chest was up. I was staring at the blue lights, and My chest was on this, my back was on the countertops, and I thought he was punching me. I thought he was I'm sorry. I felt this pressure. He on my pubic bone, and he thought he was punching me. I just saw his arm. I could feel his arm moving, and it looked like he was punching me. I just remember being really still, not wanting to move. I remember looking around the room. I remember looking at all the broken bottles, broken glass. And I remember that it's just not wanting to move because I didn't know if the bottle that he had inside me was broken. I didn't know if he would know if it was broken or not. And I just remember thinking, please, God, please, I hope it's not broken.
What has it been like for you to listen to Miss Heard's testimony at this trial?
Insane. It's insane to hear heinous accusations of violence, sexual violence, that she's attributed to me, that she's accused me of.
Johnny was emphatic. He'd done nothing wrong.
But never did I myself reach the point of striking Miss Heard in any way, nor have I ever struck any woman in my life.
He insisted to the court it was Amber who was the abuser.
Suddenly, I'm just getting clobbered from behind, and one's natural primal instinct is to kind of duck and cover. So.
He also spoke at length about the damage done to his career in the wake of the allegations. Tens of millions of dollars in potential lost earnings being the catalyst for this legal action.
You're claiming that due to Amber's allegations of abuse, you can't be in Pirates 6, correct?
I mean, I would be a real simpleton to not think that there was an effect on my career based on Ms. Heard's words, whether they mention my name or not.
How did their styles differ when both of them were in the witness stand?
Well, actually, they had very different approaches to being in court as well as being in the witness box. You had Amber Heard, who, at the beginning of the trial, maintained a position or an expression of sort of lip-trembling stoicism. But she sat there in court looking like she was hating every second of the trial. Johnny Depp, by contrast, was much more relaxed. He was laughing and joking with his legal team. He was eating gummy bears. He was sometimes cracking up when some of the witnesses described some of the ridiculous sides of what happened in the relationship.
And you would sometimes drink whiskey in the mornings too, right? During this time period.
Isn't happy hour any time?
But there were some parts of his testimony he couldn't laugh his way out of or deny.
After you said, let's drown her before we burn her, Mr. Depp, you said, I will her burnt corpse afterwards to make sure she is dead. That's what you said that you would do after you burned her and after you drowned her. Did I read that right?
You certainly did, yes.
And you wrote that about the woman who would later become your wife?
Yes, I did.
You had two sides there who were intractably opposed, who were giving really heavily conflicting evidence. When those two realities were presented, My feeling was, well, one of these people is lying. But how do you work out which one it is?
Right. It was a question the jury was about to answer.
Your next witness? Your Honor, we call Mr. John C. Depp.
Over 6 long weeks, lawyers for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard threw themselves into the task of selling their respective stories.
He rips off her nightgown. He has her jammed up against a bar. He has hurled bottles and bottles at her. He has dragged her across the floor on the broken bottles and the liquor. He has punched her. He has kicked her. He tells her he's gonna f***ing kill her. He f***ing hates her. He's pounding at her, pounding her. And then he penetrates her with a liquor bottle.
But there were 2 very different versions of how the relationship played out.
The common sense and the evidence will tell you that it is all a lie.
It wasn't just the jury the lawyers were trying to convince. Millions of people around the world were tuning into the drama via live stream every day. The court of public opinion was well and truly in session. In a way, it was kind of surreal. You had this very serious matter playing out in court, but it almost became a real-life soap opera as well, with the live TV coverage and the intense interest around the world.
Because it was televised around the world and streamed around the world on the internet, people started to take a real interest in this, and it kind of energized the latent fan base that Johnny Depp has enjoyed and built up over his 30-year career. And people were starting to make their own decisions about what they were seeing in court. And the public came down, I would say, pretty much squarely in favor of Johnny Depp.
People want to kill me, and they tell me so every day. People want to put my baby in the microwave, and they tell me that.
This case, like few others before, it really seemed to polarize the public, and there did become these cheer squads on both sides.
I think it's a polarizing issue when a woman brings up something that happens in private against someone who has an amazing public image and is loved and is cherished and is respected. I think that you want to believe that she's making it up and he's wrongly accused. I think it's almost bullying. It's like we all want to be in the popular crowd. We want to be the kid that everyone loves and with the popular kid. And Johnny Depp was the popular kid in this fight. He was the popular kid and Amber Heard was the one that was being bullied. A Hollywood heartthrob for nearly 40 years, Johnny Depp has always had an unwaveringly loyal fan base. And with their man now under fire in court, his fans came out in force. Dare I ask what you think of Amber Heard?
I think she's an evil person, a despicable person. I don't feel she or anyone has the right to make up the kind of lies that she's making up about him. She utterly wants to destroy him, and she'll never be able to because he's very strong.
Do you think Johnny is capable of a lot of the things that he's being accused of?
No, I don't believe it. I don't. He's a human being, so I'm not going to say that he's a saint because we all have our moments.
There are many words you could use to describe Yvonne Dubourg. Perhaps devoted is the most fitting. So how big do you think this legion of support is for Johnny Depp?
Millions. Millions. There's millions of them that have been following his career, following the trial, and they just want to support him. We all just want to support him. So Johnny here, he's still wearing the ring and bracelet that I gave him.
Yvonne was one of the many Johnny loyalists who lined up for hours each day in the hope of securing a coveted seat in the courtroom. And what a performance they got, not only from Johnny and Amber, but from a stunning cast of supporting actors as well.
Would you please state your full name for the record?
Kate Moss.
One surprise was supermodel Kate Moss, who dated Johnny in the 90s and took less than 3 minutes to show her support for him on the stand.
Did Mr. Depp push you in any way down the stairs?
No.
No, he never pushed me, kicked me, or threw me down any stairs.
But another former girlfriend, actress Ellen Barkin, spoke about her relationship with the actor in less than glowing terms.
He's just a jealous man, controlling. Where are you going? Who are you going with? What did you do last night? I had a scratch on my back once that got him very, very angry because he insisted it came from me having sex with a person who wasn't.
There were even witnesses who, strangely, didn't want to be a part of the circus, like the hapless doorman from Johnny and Amber's apartment.
I am just so stressed out because of this. I just don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this court case. Everybody got problems, and I don't want to deal with this no more.
But for a perv into the lifestyles of the rich and famous, the most extraordinary evidence came from the financial experts trying to make sense of Johnny's spending habits.
Yeah, I mean, he was profligacy personified. I mean, it's almost a Hollywood cliche of the out-of-control star who doesn't know the value of anything and just spends crazily. He'd kept up his ridiculous spending levels. He's got a private island in the Bahamas. He was taking private jets everywhere. He's got a huge team of staff around him. He's got 2 personal assistants. Well, we heard evidence from 4 different security guards. And so the lifestyle that he lived and the lifestyle that Amber Heard became part of was jaw-dropping and eye-popping for ordinary spectators going, they spent how much? They had what? They did that next? Wow. It was a real eye-opener into a very, very extravagant Hollywood lifestyle.
The audience may not have wanted it, but at some point, the spectacle was going to end.
All right, Mr. Foreperson, is this the verdict of the jury?
Yes.
All right, is it unanimous?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
And after 6 weeks, more than 40 witnesses, and 16 hours of testimony from the couple themselves, the jury took over. 3 days later, they had a verdict. Amber Heard was guilty.
Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
Could you believe it?
It was an extraordinary moment.
So the jury really couldn't have been clearer here. They don't believe that Johnny Depp ever physically assaulted Amber Heard, and they think that she's a liar.
I think that's the only conclusion that you can draw from the way that the jury found all 3 elements of the defamation action wholly in favour of Johnny Depp, and then awarded him $15 million in damages.
Johnny wasn't in court for the verdict. Coincidentally, he was back in the UK, where, despite his big win in the US, he was still considered a wife-beater.
Johnny, I love you, bro. I love you, bro. I love you, bro. I love you.
Through a statement, Amber told the world she was heartbroken, and she wasn't alone.
The trial and the verdict was global humiliation of women who break silence. We were disparaged, disbelieved, distrusted, and it didn't feel good. I felt disappointed by it.
Do you think this case in some ways gives hope to powerful men who have been accused of terrible crimes, that they can get on the front foot, they can go on the attack, and it will make their issues go away?
I traveled here to the UK to testify as a witness to assist the court.
When Amber Heard told a London court in 2020 that she was the victim of domestic violence, the Me Too movement rallied around her.
You have given me so much strength, and I send it back to you.
But now that a US court has rejected her story, confusion reigns. How much did this set back the gains that have been made by the Me Too movement?
I do feel a woman is going to think twice before she comes forward and breaks her silence and says she was victimized, either by domestic violence or sexual violence. I think it has a chilling effect. I think that it would make any woman who wants to go after a powerful, wealthy, successful celebrity male is really going to have to look at whether he, in fact, is going to turn around and bang her into the ground with a defamation lawsuit.
What message does this verdict send to perhaps a young woman who is thinking about speaking up about a powerful man?
I think it says, unless you've got a videotape and an audio tape that's admissible of him beating you and sexually violating you with a bottle or however, you better be a perfect victim. You better have no skeletons in your closet. And I think it sends a sad message that you should stay quiet. I had clients calling me saying that they were double thinking whether they wanted to come out with their story if it was a famous perpetrator or an institution or a school or an athletics or a church. This made them take a step back.
Do you think this case in some ways gives hope to powerful men who have been accused of terrible crimes, that they can get on the front foot, they can go on the attack, and it will make their issues go away?
This is going to be the playbook moving forward by powerful men. This is going to be, they're going to use the Depp Heard case as a template of how to beat these charges, how to start getting early with the jury pool with social media, how to control the narrative, how to control the judge, basically, the jury, the attorneys, how to set up such a narrative that it's like a wave. You can't really overcome it.
In their determination to destroy each other, Johnny and Amber were willing to surrender their privacy, and the damage that caused was substantial for both of them. Now, they've got to take their reputations to the PR panel beaters. Who has the longer road to redemption from here?
I think the longer road to redemption is definitely Amber Heard.
Amber Heard hasn't been found guilty of anything.
Nothing.
But it feels like she does have an uphill battle in terms of restoring her reputation.
Absolutely. I think it's so much harder, it's so much harder for a woman in Hollywood. Yeah, it's been that way, since the golden age of Hollywood. It's much harder to get back on the horse and move forward. And she just wants to go out there and make her voice heard. I mean, she honestly believes that her career at this point is probably over. But, I don't believe that. I think for Amber, the best thing for her, if I was her publicist, I would just say, just walk away for a while. Just walk away. You're a new mom. Go be a parent. Go hang out with your kids, hug them, love them, and just step away for a while. In a couple months, reevaluate what you want to do. That being said, she has a mountain to climb. To shake off any of this kind of damage that's been done to her reputation.
Incredibly, despite everything that was revealed, it seems Johnny's public rehabilitation will be much easier. So if you're on Johnny Depp's team, how do you go about rebuilding his brand now?
I don't think he's going to have an issue working in the foreseeable future.
It's a shilling to tie up your boat, Doc. And I shall need to know your name.
What do you say to 3 shillings? And we forget the name.
As much as we love watching a train wreck, we also like seeing people succeed.
Welcome to Port Royal, Mr. Smith.
I think Johnny, because he has such a legion of fans behind him, they are going to be curious to see what he's up to. When it comes to franchises, when it comes to an ensemble kind of cast, they're going to want to see his next move. They're going to want to see him succeed.
If Hollywood wants proof of Johnny's star power, they should take a look at his new TikTok account. A slick video message of gratitude to his supporters has already been viewed more than 22 million times.
We love a story of redemption. We love a story of someone overcoming an obstacle, whatever the case is.
Johnny versus Amber, sadly, has had it all. Tears, tantrums, and a toxic love affair. But at the end of the day, it's always a tragedy when love turns to hate.
When he was asked how he could sum up all of this, he described all of Amber Heard's allegations, the 2 trials that took place in the UK and the USA as stemming from one little lie. And the inference was that one little lie was told in order for her to secure that temporary restraining order. And she just embellished and embellished and embellished since then, entrenching herself and catching herself in that one little lie until it span out of control into all these multiple allegations of abuse. This is a massive victory for Johnny Depp, and this will have huge implications for months or years to come.
Hello, I'm Tom Steinfort. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our Extra Minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au, as well as the 9Now app.